It's time to enter the drone zone with me, James Drone, aka Pure Ambient Drone. So hit that subscribe button, tap that bell, and get ready to synth on.
So, if I sound a little tired, it's because I've been burning the midnight oil, as they say, playing with the Trigon 6 from Sequential. And one of the questions that people ask me, people who know me personally, people who talk with me on Facebook, they say, why do you have so much sequential gear when there is apparent overlap in the synthesis? And my answer is that there's not as much overlap as we think there is when we train our ears to listen for tone. And, the world that we live in today, we are surrounded by a lot of information. And we would think that a lot of information would be absolutely great for us. But too much information gives us too much to sort through and absorb. So every now and then, something comes through to me that just sticks. And it's hard in these days because we are bombarded by so many people's opinions and knowledge and experiences. And I have learned that in anything in life, experience and knowledge are two different things. And a person can know about something but not have experienced it. And it's really funny when you get into the experience part of it because you really start to learn a lot more. And my music production, and this is where I'm going with this, my music production has picked up over the years. As I gotten older and more focused, I have recorded more and more music. And when you start mixing your music, and it's primarily done with synthesizers like my music is, you start noticing something called tone. And tone is really what makes an instrument. Guitar players will pick guitars based on their tone. When I was a much younger man, I seen something on television concerning Willie Nelson. Willie Nelson was asked why he plays the same guitar, even though it's all beat up, and I think there's an extra hole in it because the pick guard wasn't there, and he just picked another hole inside of the guitar. And he loves that guitar that he plays because of the tone. And I'm talking about guitars, but I'm really referencing synthesizers in this. I'll give you one more example that stuck out to me. Mick Mars from Motley Crue, he did an interview and he was talking about how he would spend hours upon hours upon hours adjusting amplifier settings, trying different things out to get guitar tone, all about tone, to get that tone he was looking for. And I think that when we are in the world of synthesizers, I think we are looking for tone, but not all of us know what we're looking for. Now let me explain. We hear things in music that we listen to by the established pro community. When we hear these things, we don't always listen with our objective mind. We're listening usually as a fan of either synthesizers and or the music itself. But if you listen objectively and you put your brain into a gear of what it is you are hearing, you will understand that the established pro community has learned about tone. John Carpenter certainly knows how to mix a group of synthesizers along with conventional instruments in order to create a sound palette of tone. And that's really what we do whenever we construct music. When you listen to orchestrated music, you have the horns, you have the strings, you have the flutes, you have your different instruments, and all of these different instruments not only have different areas where they are used, but different tones that they bring to the composition. And so when you look at Sequential and you look at what Dave Smith was doing, it's kind of easy to see and understand that he was not creating the same synthesizers over and over again, nor was he trying to make them better and better and better, although he did achieve that in some aspects. But we could argue that the old ones were just fine as well. But the point is that when he rebooted, if you will, his company, which was DSI and then Sequential, he set out to build synthesizers that would have a different tonality to them. Now, the reason why I say this, and I don't know the man, or I never knew the man, and there really isn't anything that I can find on the internet that backs up what I'm saying, other than the fact that when you look at his instruments that he created, you will see a sound palette of differences that when you combine them, you can quickly understand that he did not want to make the same synthesizer twice. He may have wanted to improve or change different aspects of synthesizers that he did in the past. Let's take the Prophet 6. That certainly was a alteration of the Prophet 5. The Prophet 6 is not a Prophet 5, though. Can you get the same sounds from a Prophet 6 that you can with a Prophet 5? Of course you can. But can you get the same tone? Generally speaking, no, because you're talking about the use of filters. You're also talking about different aspects of how he combined these components to make a different tone coming from the instrument. Now, the Trigon 6 has really woken me up further to this notion of tone concerning synthesizers. It's got me very, very alert as to what I'm looking for when it comes to that. And adding another sequential synth to my arsenal has really made me take a look at what I already have. For instance, we have the Prophet 12, which is really a digital type synthesizer hybrid going through analog filters, and that would certainly create a different tone than what you would have, let's say, on the OB6, which is a pure analog path synthesizer. And so then you would take a look at the Rev 2. The Rev 2 is DCO, it's still analog, but they're digitally controlled oscillators going through analog filters. Whereas on the Prophet and the OB6, just to name a couple, you have VCOs going through analog filters. All of these aspects, all of these differences, they create what we would call tone. And if used constructively and used in the proper musical scale, so that you don't have too much high range of the same synthesizers, and you don't have too much of the lows. If you were to separate these in a mix, you would quickly learn that you can easily mix sequential synthesizers, and there isn't that much overlap unless you want there to. You can push it, to where you could get overlap, but even then it would have to be purposely done, and to the trained ear, people would be able to differentiate the tonality of these synthesizers. People that are used to these synthesizers, that have their ears trained to such things. So what I'm going with this is that when you're because I get this question a lot, what synthesizer should I get? There are lots of aspects to synthesizers that you should consider when purchasing one. But I think that over the years, the number one aspect that I have learned that's the most important to me at this stage is tone. If you're creating music, if you're an artist and you want to make music, you don't need two guitars that are identical. You don't need two synthesizers that are identical. And it seems like everybody's either trying to reinvent their own synthesizers or they're trying to reinvent somebody else's synthesizers. So if you already have something in your arsenal that sounds that gives you the tone that you're looking for, you maybe want to be looking towards a synthesizer that is giving you a tone that you don't have. So let's say you have a lot of pure analog synthesizers in your arsenal. You might want to look towards synthesizers that are perhaps DCO or even hybrid or FM digital. There's lots of different aspects and different specs that you could pick from that would get you away from the tone of an analog, that when you mix it together with these analog synthesizers that you already own, it would give you a different tone. And that's the most important thing to me now. Now, the other thing is obviously I don't like frustrating synthesizers. And I could get into what synthesizers frustrate me and which ones I don't like, but then, you know, the comment section would fill up with people who use those synthesizers and think that I'm bashing those synthesizers, and then tell me why I'm wrong. And I'm not always right, and I'm not always wrong, but I know what I like sometimes, and I know what I don't like sometimes. But experimentation is also important. So I always tell people, if you have a music store that contains an inventory of synthesizers, you should try out as many as you can before you go out and buy these synthesizers, because we all know that prices are going up. And it gets very expensive to just buy a synthesizer and find out that this is not what you wanted. But when selecting a synthesizer, one should look at what they already have and what they need, what a new synthesizer will do for them, what space in the tone spectrum that synthesizer is going to fill. So if you are missing something in your tonality, go back, listen to some of your compositions, and just ask yourself, what tone is this music of mine missing? What do I need? For me, the Trigon 6 filled a much needed Moog sound. I have a Moog One, but there's something immediate about the Trigon 6 that I'm enjoying this synthesizer more than I ever imagined I would. The tonality of this synth, I have to tell you, in my opinion, Dave Smith has done an incredible job putting this synthesizer together, and I think it is his best work to date. But what do I know? I mean, all of his synthesizers, in my opinion, are great works of art, and I'm just being biased towards the Trigon 6. But if you haven't experienced the Trigon 6, I would strongly suggest that you look for one in your local music store, or one of your friends might have one. You can maybe hit one of your friends up and say, hey, can I try your Trigon 6? And just listen to it on a good pair of headphones or some really great speakers, and just get to the understanding of what this tone means. And don't get me wrong, I am not comparing a Trigon 6 to a Moog One. They are totally different animals. But the Moog One can frustrate me at times simply because of the interface. I'm not always excited about getting on the Moog One compared to the Trigon 6. The Trigon 6 gives you this immediate feeling of, I am creating something, I am doing something. It's very rewarding very quickly. The Moog One is for those, and don't get me wrong, you can hit the Moog One and get that same thing, but it's really a deep dive synthesizer. The Trigon 6 can also be a deep dive synthesizer, but there just seems to be an immediacy with the Trigon 6 that I personally don't have with the Moog One. Am I getting rid of the Moog One anytime soon? I don't know. Who knows? I do have my tone that I'm looking for with the Trigon 6. I have it with my Moog One, but do I need a $10,000 synthesizer when I have something that is filling the tone spot, if you will, that I have now? I'm very happy with the Trigon 6, but I never make moves quickly. I try to just kind of wait until I'm working on my next album, and then I usually make a decision of what synthesizers I should or shouldn't keep. And sometimes I make the wrong decisions, like we all do, and kind of have seller's regret, if you will. But I've had buyer's regret too. I hope that this video has helped you, and if it has, give it a like, please. And if you haven't already done so, hit that subscribe button, tap that bell. And until next time, keep calm and synth on.